from the misty coastlines of Hossegor, France. This historical location maintains a famed past in surfing's competitive history.
Counting down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The ninth stop on the Samsung Galaxy World Championship Tour signifies the beginning of the end for the world's best 34 male surfers. With only 3 events remaining, the race for the world title is finally hitting its stride.
Oh, giant punt. Stomps that thing with ease.
Shocking early round exits for Gabriel Medina, Matt Wilkinson, and Jeep leader John Florence at lower trestles has further compressed the race, increasing the pressure as we inch closer to crowning the 2016 world champion. The rest of the field is steadily closing the gap on the once-thought 3-man race.
Going to the barrel, can he come out of this one? There he goes!
On the women's side, Courtney Conlog's second championship win of the year has tightened the vice on Tyler Wright's pursuit of her first ever world title.
I just want to smash my competitor, really.
It's been about the power here from Tyler Wright that's been the difference in my eyes.
The shifting sands of Hossegor, France will once again play host to the Quiksilver and Roxy Pro, and it all begins now. Welcome everyone to Le Canoe in Hossegor, France. As we look over the sights, is a new swell in the water. We're here at Dawn Patrol. Of course, this is the Samsung Galaxy World Surf League Championship Tour, and this is stop number 9, the Quiksilver and Roxy Pros. Good morning, everyone. Of course, loving today, back in France, and you look over my shoulder, we've got ourselves some beautiful waves on tap. As you look at what we'll have on show today, this is world title season. This is when we're going to be seeing who is going to be able to take a hold and win the world title. Of course, fantasy talk with our lovely Rosie Hodge and Ross Williams. And then, of course, making the call with our friend Kieran Perot, how difficult it can be to make those calls here at the beaches of France. And, of course, our panel. Martin Potter back in town. Gotta love you, and back on the desk.
Yeah, stoked to be back, and what a time to come back, Pete. I mean, it's all heating up. We've got an incredible race both on the men's and women's side, so I can't wait to see what's going to unfold in the next couple of days.
And Rosie, just yesterday we were over at the Cascais Women's Pro, and here we are back on the beaches of France.
I love the European leg. I mean, I can't stop rubbernecking over my shoulder here. There's peaks up and down this beach. I'm just excited to see, what kind of unfolds today.
And of course, this is world title season. We like to understand what's going to be happening here, both on the men's and the women's side. A lot going on, Potts.
There is. Obviously, it's coming down to Tyler Wright and Courtney Conlog in this event. It's kind of like Tyler's to lose, but the thing that really is getting my juices flowing is the men's side. I mean, we're calling it a 3-horse race, but at this point in time, you're looking at there's that one guy who's sitting down in number 5th spot. His name's Kelly Slater. He's won every event so far this, towards the back part of the year. So it's going to be super tight. It's going to be interesting.
And you look at the world title rankings, there is a gap, pretty good gap between 3 and into 6, but that doesn't mean that Kelly Slater, Jordy Smith, and even like Joel Parkinson can't be squeezing those guys at the top, Rosie.
Well, totally. I mean, what we saw at the Hurley Pro was just so an indicator of what's happened this year. I mean, it's just been shaken and turned upside down. I think a lot of the front runners, Maddie Wilkinson, is kind of seeing it slip through his fingers, whereas John and Gabriel, they have major targets on their back. Jordy Smith, Kelly Slater, really bringing up that top 5.
I think, when you look at those rankings, Pete and Rosie, it's kind of like everyone's got their throwaways now. So it comes down to really who connects in these last 3 events. And, there's that added pressure, obviously. John in foreign territory. Gabriel Medina, I think, is probably, to me, one of the most dangerous guys from where he's sitting. I mean, the pressure's off. He's not number 1. He's sitting right there comfortably in number 2 spot. And, this is a part of the tour that this kid loves. You know, and then you go into
Absolutely.
Hawaii too, where he's done well. So it's going to be interesting.
So true. And if you look on the women's side, we have Courtney Conlogue and Tyler Wright doing battle, and we saw Courtney take the win at the Cascais Women's Pro. So that little race there is tightening up.
Well, what I love about this title race at the moment is we're going to see a new world title contender no matter what. I mean, Stephanie Gilmore, Carissa Moore, they've held it for the last 9 years. So, you know, Tyler Wright, 5 finals, 4 wins and a second. It's just so impressive the way that they're performing under pressure.
Yeah, just give someone else a go, right?
Yeah.
I like to see that.
Well, if you look at these scenarios, it can be won for Tyler Wright here at the Roxy Pro. Potts?
Yeah, it can. I mean, you know, to me, it's Tyler's to lose. But in saying that, you know, Courtney Conlogue's got a bit of momentum because she's coming out. You know, we heard her talk in her post-heat interviews. She just wants to smash her opponents. And I think coming here to France, you know, with these big, strong beach breaks, I can't see anyone taking Tyler or Courtney out of this race. I mean, it's going to be those two guys, those two girls, at the end of the day, who, you know, is going to win it.
And if you start looking at what we have on tap here at the beaches of France, Rosie, look at Courtney, you know, and Tyler's strength. Tyler being a past champion here, but Courtney, when if it's sizable and bigger, who's going to have the kind of flow, do you think, going into this one?
Oh, that is such a great question. I think when we look at our front runners, both of those ladies are so fit and not afraid to take it on. But then you also look at the people that could potentially play spoiler. Tatiana Weston-Webb could really be a huge wrench in the works there.
10-point ride last year. Remember that day? She paddled out first wave, got the biggest barrel. So, you know, and she's right there too. I mean, she's a spoiler for sure. You know, Steph Gilmore, obviously as well. She's got no pressure on her, so she's going to be dangerous as well. You know,
touching on that Steph Gilmore story, she wasn't there in Cascais for that event, so she's coming back here with the ear healed up and ready to go. I mean, where do you see Steph kind of playing a role? I mean, if you look at that bottom half of the draw, it's pretty stacked in that bottom half, just like we saw in Cascais.
Yeah, that is it. I mean, you're really running a gauntlet now. The way that the rankings have shaken up, I mean, Carissa Moore, you throw that in the mix. Sally Fitzgibbons was looking great in Cascais. But definitely Stephanie Gilmore, I mean, she doesn't want to give anyone that kind of edge and open that door of opportunity. She's held that dominance for so many years. She wants to take people down.
Oh, I love this stuff. And we'll get to talk more about fantasy surfing coming up after the break. Of course, hopefully getting that call soon so we can get some competition underway.
Drop the needle, DJ, on a hot 45. This world's spinning out of control. Hit us with a truth and a funky beat. Save this lost and heavy soul. Yeah, let it rip, let it roll. Right or wrong doesn't mean a thing at all in a world where money is king. Play another song for the folks on the floor, stuck on the outside looking in.
And welcome back to Dawn Patrol, and we welcome Ross Williams to the desk as we see, again, looking to the south, the beach breaks here in Hossegor, France. That being La Gravier, we're at Le Canoe, and we've got beaches going north, extending all the way up to Lacanau, non-stop. I mean, there could be a bank anywhere. We're not going that far up there, but of course, hopefully getting underway momentarily here behind us. Ross Williams, talking fantasy. You're able to get our article out and let the fans know who to pick. Of course, always want to pick your brain. One of the best analysts in the business here.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one because in a Tier A section you have 3 or 4, even 5 really tough kind of names to pick from, and I got a little bit creative. Gabriel Medina, everyone knows that he's going to be pretty much the favorites because he's so solid in France. He's in down in 2. Potts talked about it in that last segment where he's got less pressure than John, who has the yellow jersey on. So anyways, I left Gabriel off my team, which is a little bit risky because he is a strong player, but I went with John and Kelly just to try and get less people sharing that pick with myself.
All right, so and John obviously a good pick here, and even Kelly for that matter. But I mean, Gabriel's going to be that guy. At least that's why I have him on my team. It's because he's going to gain points from round 1 all the way through. You're pretty much guaranteed to see 8s.
Yeah, and that's definitely, you can't argue that. Picking Gabriel is a no-brainer, but you're going to be probably sharing Gabriel Medina with 85-90% of the people out there. So I'm just trying to get a little sneaky, maybe pick Kelly, who might be overlooked a bit. And if Kelly goes out here and wins this event with the waves with the way they are right now, this is Kelly territory.
Of course it is. And if look at Kelly and the beach breaks here of France, it took him a while to win this event, though. It was an event that we all talked about when we were here for those many years, that he never won, and then finally he got the win.
Well, 2012, I mean, you think about how many years and how much experience Kelly Slater has in the French beach breaks. He's only won the event once, so you talk about someone gaining points for you, maybe being a sneaky pick in that Tier A. I mean, I think you couldn't have really chosen anyone better. He looks impressive when the waves are like this.
I mean, Ross, and how much attention do you pay to the actual forecast? I mean, do you actually make calls over here to the beach break and go, hey, what's the bank look like? I mean, because that's how different this place is. I mean, you could be surfing little 2-foot lefts, or you could be surfing 10-foot barreling rights.
No, you do. And that's the cool thing about coming to Europe in general. The tides are huge. The conditions are always changing. So the surfers have to adapt. And not only do they have to adapt, but they have to like it. It does remind me of Hawaii a bit, where the people that soak that in and like it, they don't get ruffled as much, because you do kind of have to endure a long month here in Europe with big tides and adapting on the fly with those crazy conditions.
Well, and then we talk about John Florence and how good he is in the barrel. If it were to go, say, to those little rights or little left, little peeling sandbars, I mean, where do you put John in that realm of being able to adapt like that?
Well, okay, so right here, along with Kelly Slater, you can see John he's kind of the macaroni. When it's 6 to 8 feet, it looks just like off the wall, Rosie. That's where he's going to eat this place alive. When it gets 2 feet and a little more grindy, then you start looking at Tier B guys like Felipe, and that's when all those other guys come into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. John is deadly in surf like this, especially when it's kind of mixed up peaks. We saw him perform well at the Oi Rio Pro. He took a win there. But then John, when it is that barreling, founded kind of Houdini stuff, John is the man. But you mentioned 2-foot surf, maybe Philip Toledo.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the hardest for me is always getting into that Tier C and trying to find those little diamonds in the rough that have had rough seasons. They're at the bottom of the rankings. When are they going to find their form, especially at a place like France? Tier C, and your thoughts on that one?
Well, see, Tier B, I feel like, is where you really make the big difference, and that's where you're going to get the win when you're playing this fantasy game. That's where there's this, the bulk of the players, and you can pick guys that just lose in that second round, and that kills you. When you get that 25th for your players, you're not getting those big points. So I really feel like I tried to mix it up with a couple of solid players that are almost guaranteed, so to speak, to get that 9th place or better. And then the guys that I feel like are more passion picks. And that's weird to say about Julian, because we always talk about him being a world title contender, and he is just barely in the top 10. But he's been very spiky this year. He's gotten great results and horrible results. So a bit of a passion pick for me, but I feel like Adriano de Souza is kind of my insurance there.
Going to the women's, Rosie's picks, you talk about this a little bit different. We don't have as many women, so you're, again, Tier B, only 2 surfers, Tier A 1 and Tier C 1. Again, kind of the same strategy has to go into picking these team members. Who do you have on your team and why?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Tyler Wright, she's been a sledgehammer throughout the season, so it's a no-brainer. But you mentioned everyone kind of gaining those points. I think a lot of people are going to put Tyler on their team, as well as Stephanie Gilmer and Tatiana Weston-Webb. We're talking about world title spoilers. They're going to gain a lot of points for me, but a lot of points for everyone else. So really the person that I'm focusing in on to get that advantage is Bianca Buitendag. I mean, she's sitting 12th on the rankings at the moment. She's got to, really get that requalification. She's only made 7 heats this whole season, but her heat average is 12 points. So I'm kind of banking on, that if she does get a couple good heats under her belt, she can really bring up my average.
Well, and again, she's not been able to back herself. She's made a choice not to back herself up on the qualifying series. So everything is here on the line in this event and even going into the next event.
Well, totally. And I think Bianca, she knows that, and she's such a smart lady. I think she's really going to bring, that strong mental attitude, and then her surfing talent kind of speaks for herself. I mean, you look at her in big waves like Fiji, that's really her best result this year. She's got a 3rd in Fiji, a 5th at the Drugaway Pro Margaret River, and if you look over my shoulder at the waves we have right now, that would suit Bianca down to the ground.
And I got to ask you, how does she deal with the pressure? I mean, this is something where it's a do or die situation for her tour life. Can she handle it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's where you really trial by fire. You're throwing that person into those bottom ranks, and this is the pressure situation. Last few events on tour, she's got to gain some ground.
Rosie,
so
is there any reason why she didn't go on a QS this year, or is it just one of those things where she wanted to focus solely on a CT? Or
Yeah, I think, that's actually a great question. Maybe get some insight from her. I know that she's studying online, so she's got a lot of focus on education as well as her surfing. So I think she pretty much had these couple years under her belt. She's Rookie of the Year. She got a 5th, she got a 3rd, and she's thinking she can just make it up in the back half.
All right, well, let's hope that happens for Bianca. When we come back, we'll check out Surfline and what we have on tap here for the rest of this week.
Drop the needle, DJ on a hot 45. This world's spinning out of control. Hit us with a truth and a funky beat. Save us lost and heavy soul. Yeah, let it rip, let it roll. Right or wrong doesn't mean a thing at all in a world where money is king. Play another song for the folks on the floor, stuck on the outside looking in.
Fioravanti, and this is your GoPro breakdown. Here we are down the beach at the contest site, which is Lake Cuneux. All the boys are warming up for the contest.
Show you how to break it down.
A little bit further down the beach there is Gravier, which works on high tide. It's a heavy wave. It's one of the heaviest beach breaks in the world. Hey! This bank, Lake Cuneux, likes a bit more the low tide. It's still heavy barrels, but it's not as gnarly as in close to the beach. But you can still get some long right-hand barrels and also left-hand barrels, and it'll be great to just get out there and get some long rides with the barrels into a couple turns. I've been living here since I was 12 years old, so I love this place. It's become a second home to me. It's a daily routine for my mom and my dog to come down the beach. She likes to film down the beach, and we always bring Jack down the beach because he loves just running around. Hostigor is a special place not only for me, but for everyone in Europe. It's basically the home of surfing in Europe. Le Canu means naked bottom in French. People might say it's weird, but it's just how it is here. It's the culture. This beach is Le Canu. People just come down here to get free with nature.
Well, as Leo would say, let's get free in the nature. Let's talk Leo real quick. Let's welcome Martin Potter back to the desk here.
Thanks,
and
mate.
talk about Leo Fioravanti. I mean, we've basically watched him grow up,
Yeah.
and he is, as well as you, Rosie. I mean, your thoughts on his event? First of all, this event here, and then the fact that he's sitting at number 1 on the qualifying series, so we could see him on the championship tour.
Not if we are.
We
I mean,
are.
it's going to be a guaranteed. I mean, the amount of points that he's accumulated already so far this year means he's going to be guaranteed on tour next year. But I don't think he's done yet. You know, this kid's. The thing that impresses me about him the most is he doesn't fall off. And he doesn't let the big names rattle him. I mean, you saw that at Margaret River. Took down Kelly, took down a bunch of guys, surfed like a seasoned veteran, and that's just a sign of things to come from this kid. I mean, he comes from the same kind of school as Kanoa Igarashi, dangerous.
Yeah, and just real quick, just your thoughts on, why is he not rattled by the big names?
Well, I mean, he's been touring with these people for years now. We talk
Yeah.
about seeing him grow up. He's been, with Bailey, Stephen Bell, that's pretty much his stepdad. On tour with Kelly Slater, he's also, pit crew for Quiksilver. So he's had all this experience. So they pretty much, the people that he's been sparring with throughout his life.
And it seems like even Kelly Slater for this moment lately has been kind of embracing Leo and bringing him under his wing, so that could be dangerous stuff. Let's take a look at the Surfline forecast, though. We have lots of swell on tap, and always love to have Surfline on board helping us out. Of course, you can see that low there spinning off, and what I love about when you see lows like this that actually sit on itself and spin over the top, and you're going to see the swell kind of heading our way. Only real question mark in my eyes about this forecast is the wind. We got offshore conditions this morning, but even right now, Potts, the wind is backed off, and it's supposed to kind of back off and go glassy and then even turn onshore.
You know what, traditionally this time of the year, Pete, we're all rugged up in the morning. It's super cold, and I think, with these warm mornings, we're going to see that onshore come a lot quicker. So fingers crossed we get some super cold mornings, and, it's one of those tough events to run. So you got to pick and choose, and that's what makes the contest director and the commissioner's job even more tougher through this part of the tour.
So true. And right now we've got a new swell just showing up on the beaches here with 16 seconds, and it'll decrease through the interval will decrease through the rest of this week. So again, not worried about swell, Rosie. Only thing we're really questioning is this wind stuff.
Yeah.
Well, obviously with that wind, we talk about the swell, but the banks, I mean, the shape of the banks at the moment, there's peaks up and down the beach, which may make it a little bit easier if we do see that onshore
Or
flow.
harder.
Or harder, but yeah, exactly. We'll just be running,
Back and
chasing
forth.
our tails. But the good news is the banks, they're looking good.
Yeah, and of course we've got more swell coming up through the back half of the week. So again, talk about swell, we've got plenty of it. Today, picking up through the afternoon, you can see almost there to 10 feet. I mean, that's solid. We're going to see even bigger sets. We saw a couple 4-wave sets here that just blew out the whole entire lineup.
Yep.
And then it decreases through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Again, the winds are going to be kind of going back and forth. We're going to have offshores in the morning.
Yep.
So again, we're going to be, I guess if we look and talked about the commissioner and what the commissioner's going to have to deal with, it's about running up and down the beach. And he's already has touched his just this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the winds being probably one of the trickiest things, but for me it's the tide. If you can nail it with the right tide, even with that 3 to 5 feet, I mean, that's doable over here. You get these clean little banks that sort of form, and high performance for a couple of hours, and then it switches off. So it's just a matter of being on the pulse.
On the pulse. We love it. Thank you, Potts. And of course, then when we come up after the break, we're going to talk more about the world title and what those scenarios mean.
We got soul and a soul on the 45. Drop the needle, DJ on a hot 45. This world's spinning out of control. Hit us with a truth and a funky beat. Save us lost and heavy soul. Yeah.
The race is on. Of course, the world title showdown. Quiksilver and Roxy Pro happening here in Hossegor as we watch some warm-ups going down from John Florence. You know, one of the talks, we talk about the top 5. We got Kelly, Jordy, John, Gabriel, but the one fella that we haven't been talking about, Matt Wilkinson. You know, can he turn it around? It's been a bit of a slide since he's been at the top of the rankings, Rosie. Where is he going to fit in this last couple events?
That's the thing. I mean, we just take a look at what we can expect from throughout the day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Connor Coffin. Well, are we... yeah, exactly. Can we switch it up and go, hey, Connor, can you put him in your fantasy team? I mean, decision has not been made yet. We're still on hold trying to figure out where and when we're going to be running this thing. But by the looks of things, at some point today, right, Potts? Well,
I mean, absolutely. You know, with waves like that coming through. But Pete, you know as well as I do, to find one of those waves, it's like a needle in a haystack, right? I mean, the year John Florence won, it was completely, guys were getting 2s, and then John paddled out and was getting 10. So it's just the luck of the draw out here. You know, if you paddle out at the right time, you're in the right place, you're going to get waves like that. If not, you're going to come in with a total of 6 points. So it's really tough.
Well, it's that time right now. Let's get down to the beach with Strider. He's with Kieran. What's the call, boys?
Good morning. Yeah, Kieran Perot down here with the Commissioner. Commissioner, it's kind of like a box of chocolates out there. You never know what you're going to get. We have a call for this morning?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of swell in the water. It's great to see that and really clean. But unfortunately, that longer period, it's just kind of straightening it out, making it really hard to find a corner and a decent score. So we're keeping an eye on it. We want to watch it a little longer, and we're hopeful as that tide goes out, it starts to peak up. So we're going to make next call at 9 o'clock, and we'd love to get underway. It's one of the bigger and better days we might see if it kind of starts to shape up a bit better.
Do we have any word on what the forecast is for the winds today?
Wind is going to come in at some point too. That's the other problem. We've got really nice offshore. That'll stick around probably till mid to late morning. If we're lucky, we'll get lunchtime just after lunch, and then a strong onshore is going to hit, and that'll blow things out and kind of make it pretty unrideable.
Well, there you have it, guys. Looks like we're going to be waiting around for a little bit, but it could be on.
That is the story of France. Unfortunately, we come here each and every year. Potts, we've been doing this for almost, 15 years coming to this event, and generally we look at it and it's like we end up waiting. Why?
Well, because you never know what you're going to get, as Strider said. I mean, it's you know, with the tide shifting so much, and you know, this place changes by the minute, so you've got to be on it. You know, even during your heats, you paddle out, you're looking at a bank that you want to surf, you paddle out there, all of a sudden it's gone because why the tides change. So you don't want to wait too long either, you know, because that wind is coming, so Kieran's going to have to pull the trigger sooner rather than later, I think. But you know, we want... Obviously, it's that time of the year where it's super important. There's some really crucial heats coming up. There's world title races. There's qualification situations, Rosie. So we've got to be, you know, we've got to give these guys equal opportunity.
So true. I mean, we look at Kelly Slater. He's going to be coming up in Heat 2, and he's already down here. Matter of fact, he actually showed up to this event early.
Wow.
For his, a day and a half early, right? You look at his heat, you got Keanu Singh and Kanoe Igarashi. Rosie, we talked about those two surfers there. You add both of them up, and it doesn't quite reach the 44 years of Kelly Slater.
Yeah, if that is a gauntlet for those two young guys. I think Kanoe, he's been spending a lot of time here. Just thinking about the Quiksilver Young Guns competitions, Kanoe was probably a big part of that. But Kelly Slater, I mean, he just knows this place back to front. He's only won this event one time in the whole history, so you know, you kind of think about those stats too.
Well, one of the strengths I think that Kelly carries, and Potsy, I'm sure you would agree with me, is the fact that he's able to read those conditions and make judgment calls really quickly. Next one to look at, world title contenders, Jordy Smith, and then he's got Jadson Andre and Kai Otten. Jadson Andre, a former finalist here.
And Kai Otten, you know, he thrives in these kind of waves. You know, when it's tricky, when it's, you know, sort of bits and pieces here and there, that's when Kai Otten does well. So Jordy Smith really has got to focus on this next couple of events really strongly. I mean, you know, we've expected this guy to be in the world title race a lot more than what he is, Rosie. He's fit and healthy. His head's in a good place. You know, this is his opportunity right now.
Again, Matt Wilkinson, he's up against Miguel Pupo, who is fighting for his tour life, and then, of course, the wild card, Leo Fioravanti. Interesting to note, Leo Fioravanti actually has a higher seed than Ryan Callanan, which finds him in this heat with Matt Wilkinson. So it's a bit of a challenge.
Well, we think about the wild card. I mean, the slaughter that went down at the Hurley Pro, and just the, you know, the pure force that the wild cards can be. Leo is just going to be pegged to do really well at this event, as well as Jean Duroux.
Well, we talked about, I asked the question about Matt Wilkinson and what he's got to do to really turn him around this slide. And of course, he's got this clip that he put up on his Instagram and is very entertaining. So let's take a look at it.
This year I've been working with Micro, and his good friend Chris Hyington is a football player for the Sharks, and he's been giving us some little programs all year to keep fit that are based around everything you'd need in surfing. And now I've come down to the Sharks Stadium where he trains, and I think we're going to do some different stuff, not exactly linked to surfing.
Hi, I'm Chris Hynington, one of the Cronulla Sharks football players. Me and Wilco's coach, Glenn Hall, come up with a few challenges and I've organised them. Definitely putting him out of his comfort zone and going to test him mentally and physically as well. So here we are, Wilco, we're in the high altitude room. We're at 3,300 metres, 14% oxygen in the room. And here's just your heart rate. So your heart rate's at 83. 78 now, so you're a bit nervous. That's 16% of your max heart rate. So we want to get that up to 70%, and then we can start working. Here's Wilco's first challenge, just with an Ironman, Nathan Smith. He's competed as a Nutrigrain Ironman for a lot of years. He's won Australian titles, so his first challenge is he's only known for 5 minutes, and now he's going to do a run, swim, board against an Ironman. So see how he goes. At the high altitude room, we've tested him in the gym. He went up against Nathan Smith, an Ironman, and he went real well. So there's day one ticked off. We've got a few surprises for tomorrow. See how he goes at that. But I'm sure he'll do well. He's thinking under pressure and thinking under fatigue, and that's what we wanted out of this weekend. So real proud of him so far. Here we are, day two, Wilco's third challenge. We're going to take him to a boxing ring. He obviously doesn't know yet. We're going to challenge him in the ring versus an actual boxer.
All I've been hearing is that this one is going to suck for me and be really fun for everyone else. Boxing gym. Who am I fighting?
My name's Ryan Water. I'm the owner of Southside Boxing Gym here down in Tarrant Point. We've been here for about 3 years, and I was a former pro myself. I had 29 pro fights. At one stage I was number 5 in the world in the WBO.
But you see boxers, they move around, they're always on their toes. That's better.
Europe leg, I've got more pressure than I've ever had, but also an opportunity that I'm really excited about. Putting myself in situations that I'm not used to and seeing if I can work under pressure has definitely brought a new mindset after starting the year so strong and then falling back 2 spots in the last 2 events. I've really decided that it's time to work hard, and I'm absolutely ready to go into this back end of the year. I'm as prepared as I've ever been. Now it's just up to me and the ocean.
And welcome back. I guess we've got our answer about what Wilco's got to do in order to turn it around here for this European leg, Potts.
I'll tell you what, watching that, he's obviously done the hard work. He obviously knows what he's got to do to keep up with these young guys. And, you asked the question before, is he in the mix? Of course he's in the mix. He's number 3 in the world. He's won 2 events already this year. He's obviously got his throwaways, which I think is the important part for him right now, is to make sure he looks and focuses towards quarterfinals or better and keeps his head in the race until putt.
Rosie, here's his results for the season. And again, we started out with that very early wins. And then from that point, the last 3 events have been a bit of a slide.
Well, definitely. But just another point about Matt Wilkinson. Think about Matt Wilkinson 2, 3, 4 years ago, and the Matt Wilkinson now winning events. I mean, obviously throwaways of 25th there, but just think about how far he's come, all that hard work and effort that he's putting in. It's really paying off. So that's probably a signal to other surfers. You got to put your nose to the grindstone.
Absolutely. Well, here he is putting his nose to the grindstone. Of course, he's picking one of the Sharks, which just won the premiership in Australia. So he has the right people helping him, right?
Boxing, Ironman, I mean, he's doing all the right things. And that's going to give him that extra little bit. And that's what you're looking for when you're coming up against John Johns and the Medinas and the Kelly Slaters. You want that extra little bit that's going to give you that energy or that motivation to push on forward. He's had his bad results, yes, but so has everyone else. So everyone's in that same sort of situation.
All right, well, we're on hold until 9 o'clock. We'll come back and we'll keep talking story about what's going on out here. It's great stuff.
Drop the needle, DJ on a hot 45. This world's spinning out of control. Hit us with a truth and a funky beat. Save us lost and heavy soul. Yeah, let it rip, let it roll. Right or wrong doesn't mean a thing at all in a world where money is king. Play another song for the folks on the floor, stuck on the outside looking in.
And welcome back to Dawn Patrol. The sights, swell is up, but as you can see, pretty straight. So we are on hold until 9 o'clock. We'll make a call at that point. We've talked about Jordy. We've talked about his heat. We've talked about Wilco and what he has to do. We've talked about, who else? Kelly, that guy, Kelly. And then, of course, now we talk about those top 2 who really are probably the ones that are in the driver's seat. You've got John Florence and Gabriel Medina coming off of early round losses at the Hurley Pro at Trestles, coming into the back half of this year where both those surfers have had probably their best results. Let's look at John's heat here. Connor Coffin, who we saw already get completely drained this morning, and Joan Deroux, who is a wild card, who is coming off of a bit of a good event over there in Cascais. So he's got a tough heat.
Yeah, I mean, John Deroux, big, strong kid, knows his place like the back of his hand, so he's definitely going to be a tough one. But, you know, it's round one. You know, you can't win the event, but you can lose it because you don't want to go into that round number two. That's where the pressure builds up, and we've seen that throughout this year. When the top guys end up in that round two, what happens? They stumble, they fall, and we don't want John to find himself there.
Gabriel Medina, after what we would call a loss that probably stung quite a bit, he stormed off the beach and was out of there, Rosie. And what's he going to have to do here coming into this event specifically to win or even take over that world title? I mean, I think his mental aspect has got to be a bit stronger.
Oh, well, you think about Gabriel Medina, we talk about these last events that they have for the men. He is just so strong here. I think he loves that challenge too. And we think about Dusty Payne being in that heat. We haven't seen him since Fiji in an event, so I'm looking forward to seeing Dusty back in the jersey.
You know what, Pete? You've got to go back a couple of years where John made a run for the world title, almost got himself in the mix going into pipe. Last year, Medina was nowhere to be seen. Won this event, found himself with a shot at pipe. So, you know, these are guys that can come out of nowhere and produce good results, but they're both at the top of the list. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with that pressure, because they haven't really had it coming into this part of the year.
Well, and we talked about Gabriel Medina and what he did as a grommet here, the king of the groms. We brought that up many times, but that was when his start of what really kind of showcased his ability here in these beach breaks. And then his first ever win was the Quiksilver Pro.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel Medina, just look at that. 2011, he won this event as a Grom, you know, off the back of coming in from the Young Guns, straight into his first year on the championship tour, winning the Quiksilver Pro. So I can't really poke a hole at Gabriel Medina's game plan. I think he's just a brilliant surfer.
Well, 3 finals in 5 years. I mean, that's got to show some sort of domination, right? You know, as a young kid, I mean, he's bigger and stronger and fitter right now, and he's kind of angry coming out of trestles. So it's going to be interesting to see the fireworks that Medina's going to bring. You know, obviously a tough round one heat, but you know, he eats those heats up for when the pressure comes. He performs. You know.
So John Florence wearing the Jeep Leaders jersey, carrying a bit of momentum. I guess, well, I wouldn't say momentum, being that but I think this is an event that he would relish in, especially when you've got conditions like they are, say today, where it's a bit of a challenge. It's big barrels.
Lucky dip, you know, and you've got to be in the right place at the right time. Obviously, you know, John's got that knack. You know, he's got that ability. Obviously, you know, growing up in Hawaii, surfing real solid, powerful, chunky waves, this kind of stuff doesn't bother him. You know, we're going to have jet ski assist as well, which is what he used to win that event. I mean, he was so in tune with the waves, where he'd get the jet ski after each wave and not paddle back out and get himself back in the lineup and put himself in that good spot.
Been pretty quiet in regards to John. You know, he carried that injury from Tahiti into trestles. We talked about it. It was getting worked on, but it's been pretty quiet. I mean, as far as like any word on how he's feeling. Have you seen anything or heard anything, Rosie, that kind of inclines that he's even worried about that knee?
Well, one thing that he just mentioned at trestles is that it was a minor sprain, so not really having any injuries before. He maybe thought it was a little bit worse than what he, you know, how it felt, and when they checked him out, it was pretty much okay. But another thing about John, we think about Tyler Wright saying that her intention is to win a world title. John came into this year with the same mentality. He's not working on any movies, got no other distractions. He's really put that focus on the world title.
Well, Potts, Rosie, we are again on hold, looking at hopefully possibly a start right nearly after that. Let's take a look at the women's and what they have in this round one heats, the world title contenders. You know, Tyler Wright, she's going to have probably, I mean, we saw it in Cascais. I don't like saying easier side of the draw, but it kind of, I mean, if you look at it, that top half, that road's been a lot easier for Tyler Wright.
Well, Tyler Wright, even just like the round ones, the round threes, always advancing into, you know, those premier rounds. She made it straight to the quarterfinals at Cascais, so really made her life easier. You mentioned the easier side of the draw. She also has been coasting through those rounds and then kicking it into the high gear when it gets to the quarterfinals.
I mean, her heat totals, Potts, you know, going into, even in trestles, you know, those first early rounds, they were around 11 points, 12 points. Yep. Those aren't necessarily world title heat totals.
Yeah, well, that's Kelly's numbers. You know, if you look at Kelly, the way he performs, you know, it's his best heats are never the first ones or the second round or third round. It's always the quarter semis finals when you start cranking it up. That's just a sign of an athlete that's finally tuned and knows exactly what they got to do. Produce your best at last at the finals.
You know, Courtney sits at number 2. doesn't have the wins that we see from Tyler Wright. Tyler Wright 4, Courtney just now 2. Do you feel like she's coming into this event having to win?
Absolutely. I think this is a do or die for Courtney. Just to have that little bit more of a cushion going into Maui. But as it stands, it's Tyler's to lose. I mean, she's dangerous out here, by the way, too. She's won this event a couple of times. She's not scared of these challenging beach breaks. Obviously that ankle's still strapped, Rosie. I don't know if that's still bothering her, but she is looking absolutely dangerous.
Well, we had noticed that she had been getting work done in Cascais. Of course, she made the final, so doesn't seem like it's a real issue. But I mean, is it easier for, say, Courtney to know that she just has to win?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what she's been doing. She's been stepping up to the plate every single time and just, going for broke. And also the hard work that she's putting in right now. We've mentioned Matt Wilkinson and all of those scenarios, but Courtney really is one of the hardest working ladies on tour. There's so many hard workers, but Courtney, she puts in the hours.
So true. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll hopefully have that call at 9 o'clock. Don't go anywhere.
Drop the needle, DJ, on a hot 45. This world's spinning out of control. Hit us with a truth and a funky beat. Save us lost and heavy soul. Yeah, let it rip, let it roll. Right or wrong doesn't mean a thing at all in a world where money is king. Play another song for the folks on the floor, stuck on the outside looking in.
Three, two, one.
And now, hearing the horn sound, it is official. Adriano de Souza is the 2015 world champion.
It's an incredible feeling, and I'm the top of the world.
Elation for Carissa Moore. She is the 2015 world champion.
I feel like it's still a dream. I feel like it hasn't really sunk in yet.
The moment you get out of the water, you actually clinch it in a certain heat and you come in and you're the world champion. That is the ultimate.
I've never seen that many people in my life all together and scream my name. I will never forget about this moment.
When I was a boy, there was no world title to even dream about, but it was my dream.
I don't know that I felt worthy of the title at that time. I mean, I was still a kid. I had in my mind that there was this giant mountain I had to climb to get there, and that level was beyond me. And so that really pushed me and sustained me in trying to get better and better.
Kelly was by far the best surfer, and all my brother ever wanted to do was be the best surfer in the world. When he got to that level, the one person he wanted to beat or destroy was Kelly.
Trying to stay there is almost harder than getting there. All of a sudden, your friends are not your friends anymore. They want to kick your butt. So it just kind of turns another switch on. When the record book stated that Lisa Anderson had won 4 in a row, I thought, well, I need to win 5 in a row.
It was around 10 or 12 years old. I remember telling my dad, I want to be the best in the world.
I was just fortunate enough to be a professional surfer. A world title is just like more than a bonus.
There was one tag that really started to hit home with me, and that was the best surfer to never win a world title. People started tossing that around. It kind of fired me up, like, I don't want to be that guy.
The opportunity to live your dreams is one of those things that is never easy.
I think if you knew how hard it would be, you probably wouldn't do it. Getting sunburned, getting dings, getting cuts, the amount of hours that I spent in the surf, there's so much emotion.
Laser focus. You have to have that absolute belief in yourself.
The biggest thing is mentally, because that's who you talk to the whole time, is the critic upstairs.
It's 2016 and the World Surf League is celebrating 40 years of professional surfing. Part of that celebration is recreating the WSL trophy that's awarded every year to the men's and women's champions. In the recreation of these trophies, we're paying homage to 40 years of past champions.
They're incorporating the sand from all of the beaches of all of our past 40 world champs, because it really serves as a reminder that anyone from any beach around the world can come along and become a WSL world champion. The base is going to be made out of koa wood brought in from Hawaii, and that has a special connection too for surfers. We've got such a rich background, the names of all of our past champions etched into that new form. This trophy is a piece of art.
The world title list, the names on it, it's the greatest of the greatest, and it's an honour to be there.
For me personally, it means that I'm part of that history. I feel very lucky and very privileged.
Here we are 40 years later, and I'm fortunate my name's the first one on the list.
It happened, and the crowd gathered, and it was massive, and I can remember it really distinctly, and it was the best moment of my life for sure.
To get it and to achieve it, you're really still scratching yourself, wondering whether you do. I still scratch myself now and go, did that really happen?
It gave me a great deal of self-worth and strength and posture. Anytime things get tough in life for me, I look at the trophy and sort of it makes me realise how hard I worked and how much I went through to get that. It's an amazing feeling.
When I first laid my hands on that world title trophy, I never ever wanted to let it go.
The World Surf League celebrating 40 years of professional surfing, and Potts, 1989, the year that you won that world title. You get chicken skin looking at that, and I'm sure you do. It kind of brings back some memories for you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's it's the pinnacle of the sport. It's what you do it for. It's why you wake up early every morning, train your butt off. You do the hard yards. You heard of Stephanie Gilmore talk about the sacrifices, the dings, the bumps, the lumps that Matty Wilco's taken in the boxing ring just to try and get himself into that position. And once you get it, it's very sweet, very sweet.
I kind of want to reminisce about the year that you won your 89 title. Almost kind of similar in a way to what Milko did. You started out of the gates just on fire, and then kind of started going through an ebb period. I mean, so you would kind of know that what that feeling is like. That Wilco's kind of dealing with. Yeah, well, it's a long run. I mean, there's so many variables that can come into play. You're dealing with different waves, different breaks, different boards, different situations, and there's so many things that can go wrong. But then there's those very few things that can go right, and when everything comes together and clicks like Matty Wilco did, everyone's talking about he's sliding down the rankings. I mean, I think he's in a really good spot. I think he's just got to stay strong, stay focused, and try and rekindle that feeling that he had at the beginning of the year. Because once it does, he's gonna remember, oh, okay, that's how I did it. And he did it without thinking about it. He did it without the pressure, and he's got to realise that now the pressure's on these guys that are leading the race, the Medinas and the Johns. He's just got to sneak in and try and steal some limelight from them. Well, those are some words of wisdom there, Wilco. Take a note from this kid here. You look at the last, actually I'm going to touch on the top five. I mean, you've got Kelly at 5 with all of his 11 world titles. You've got Gabriel sitting there at number 2, but everyone else has not won one yet. This is actually the last 10 years, and Kelly Slater's name obviously on that several times, and again, Mick Fanning. So even on the women's side, there's all these new names kind of vying for a world title, Rosie. I mean, how does that play into what we're looking at, especially being this is world title season right now? These next 2 events mean so much for these people that have never experienced it before.
I love it. I mean, who really opened that door is Gabriel Medina. I mean, he really paved the way, showed Adriano de Souza, he kind of took it out last year in such an emotional fashion, and then this year we look at the front runners and they're some of the best surfers in the world, those young guys that we've just waited in the wings to see kind of come on and explode. And I think it's just so awesome, especially on the ladies side, that we're going to see a new world champ, Stephanie Gilmore, Carissa Moore. They've been winning it for the last 9 years. So Courtney, Tyler, this is really their opportunity.
So true. I mean, Potts, you talk about the year that you chasing a world title. Is it easier coming from, say, a couple spots behind to win that world title, or sit at the top and win it?
You always want to be at the top, because, if you're at the top, means everything's going your way, means the judges are liking what you're doing, means that, those little things that normally don't go your way are. When you're chasing, it's almost like there's that sense of urgency where you're pushing harder, you're overthinking situations maybe a little bit too much. I think you've got to just let it happen. Mother Nature's a fickle entity, and the ocean's one of the most unpredictable elements of Mother Nature. So if you're at the top of the list, like John is, means everything's going your way. Those little things that normally go against you are going for you. Everyone's had those close calls. Everyone's had those heats that go your way. Everyone's had those heats that don't. So you've got to just stay strong, and prefer to be at the front, but chasing's not bad.
Yeah. Real quick, in regards to having to deal with that pressure when things aren't going your way, like with Wilco, kind of almost like he's couple close heats with those wild cards.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? When things you feel like they're against you?
They're not against you. It's just the way
but it feels like it, right?
Well, it's the way the cookie crumbles. This is part of our sport. I can't remember how many heats I thought it should have gone my way, didn't, and then the heats I've come in thinking I didn't do well, I won. So that's part of the sport. There's that unpredictability of those close calls. And it's a sport that everyone's got different styles, everyone's got different approaches, and it's like an artist. You might like that painting but don't like that painting. It's very similar with our sport. So you've got to take those knocks, you've got to take those lumps and bumps, and that's what builds that character. That's what builds that solid foundation to go, hey, I've gone through all those lumps and bumps, I deserve this, and work harder, and that's what Matty Wilco's doing. So he's got to push all those little niggling things aside, as does everyone, and just push forward and concentrate on what you've got to do, and that's win heats.
More words of wisdom from the world champion, Martin Potter. Let's head down to the beach, though. Strider Wazalewski is with Kieran Perot for the call.
Thanks, Pete. Yep, down here with Kieran again. Kieran, we've got some great conditions. The winds are still offshore. What do you think we're going to be getting into?
Yeah, we've been watching. We've seen a couple of really good rides. It's kind of hard to find them out there, but they're great when they come. Tide going out's kind of helping it to peak up a little. So we're going to get going. We're going to start at 9:15. Men's round 1. We'll get as far as we can before that wind comes up. Still predicted to sort of come in about midday, so hopefully we can get around 8 heats done.
There you go. And with those 8 heats, we're going to see some of the wild cards probably, right? So tell me a little bit about the wild cards in this event.
Yeah, some great wild cards this event. Always the case out here, especially with those beach break conditions. Those guys have a lot of knowledge. Joanne Giroux knows this place like the back of his hand. Leo also, grew up surfing around here, so it's going to be really interesting.
Well, there you have it, guys. Some wild cards and good waves on the way.
Thank you, Strider. And of course, 9:15, we're going to be running some heat. So good news there. Yeah, we'll rub our hands together. Let's talk real quick about those wild cards and what they mean to those world title contenders. Generally speaking, when you talk about surfers that are, don't have anything to lose, very similar to what we have from these 2 wild cards, they end up surfing free, right, Potts?
Oh, that's exactly right. This is a notorious event for that as well. Remember Jeremy Flores as a kid coming out at the Gravier, taking down Kelly Slater a bunch of times. So last year, wildcard situation, Dane Reynolds almost ruined Adriano de Souza's world title race. So this is one event that can happen. So these guys have got to really be on their game, Rosie.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We think about the wild cards coming into this and the run that they've had on the QS this year. Flawless. Leo Fioravanti has been flawless. John Duru impressed me so much at the Billabong Cascais Pro 10,000 that we just saw last week. So they'd be fired up and ready to go.
When you talk about John Duru, the reason why he did end up getting into this event, he is the highest ranked World Qualifying Series Frenchman. So he got himself a start. Leo, obviously from Quiksilver. He actually put together a clip of kind of his season and a trip he had recently. And we'll go to a quick break with that clip from Leo Fioravanti. Check this out, and we'll be back with some heats. Finally, we're going to get underway at 9:15.
We just arrived in Fiji. It's my first time over here, and hopefully get barrels. Yeah, we can't wait till Kelly gets here, and hopefully he can share some of his knowledge with us since we're pretty much rookies. watch videos of Kelly surf it, but to actually surf with him at pumping cloud break was one of the biggest learning curves of my life. The way he positioned himself, every wave he went on was just the best wave, and he really owns this place.
Gosh, it was, I don't know, it was about as perfect as I've seen it on some waves. It was amazing. But yeah, Leo was smashing it. He has a good eye for waves, so he's always putting himself on the good ones, and he picked up on that real quick. He's a real student of surfing, you know. He's always been keenly aware of what everyone's doing and really paying attention to everyone's game and what people are good at, and you know, how to compete properly in different conditions. His best surfing comes in big waves. He seems to like the powerful stuff, and he's really able to pick apart lineups and you know, choose what the best waves are. So competitively, he's got a real advantage over a lot of people.
After surfing this well, it motivates me even more to qualify for the CT. Like, this is what I've worked hard for. I work hard to surf waves like this with no one out on WCT. I've always dreamed of coming to Fiji, and I dreamed that it was this way. France really is a special place to me. I've been coming here since I was about 6 years old, and now my family lives here too, so it's become my second home. I got to spend a lot of time here this year, especially during the winter. It was non-stop pumping with not many people out. The waves we get to surf are incredible, and there's so much variety that I really think it's shaped me into the surfer I am now. Always try to chase some swells in between contests, and traveling the whole year on the QS can be a little hard, so it's good to get away from it sometimes. And I seen there was good waves going to El Salvador, so messaged Kano and Zeke, and they were all down to go.
you know, his attitude towards everything is really positive, and, you know, good to have that energy, and it's good to feed off of. You know, it kind of makes me a better person, and I feel like that's what Leo does. He kind of just makes the people around him better. And in the next couple of years, hopefully we're both on tour and we're both doing the same thing and traveling together and kind of feeding off each other's energy and pushing each other to new levels.
This year has really been the best year of my life. I've gone to surfing in incredible ways with my idol, to spending time with my family and just pumping waves with great friends and traveling around the world, getting good results. All these things combined have helped me to hopefully achieve my lifelong goal of qualifying for the World Tour, and hopefully one day, who knows, become a world champion.
Welcome back to Dawn Patrol. Looks like we are on Quiksilver Pro, Roxy Pro here, France, and conditions, as you can see there, pumping. Finally getting some heats underway here. Heat number 1, Potts, Rosie. Exciting stuff. Went through a bit of a long Dawn Patrol. Lots of stuff to digest there. 40 years of professional surfing, world title contenders, and of course Leo Fioravanti having the year of his life.
Absolutely. You know, what an opportunity to be able to go and pick the brain of the world's best, you know, one of the best surfers ever. But what a smart guy Kelly is too, tapping into that youthful energy again. I mean, there's a bit of give and take there, and I think he's always looking for that something extra, and I think you know, he needs that. You know, we saw the thing with Andy, and then Mick and Joel came along, and it gave him longevity. And now you've got these young kids that he's tapping their energy. What's he doing? I mean, he's going to be around for another 10 years?
He's going to be going, exactly. Are you saying we're going to see him until he's 50?
Absolutely.
Rosie?
Oh, guaranteed. I mean, he's in the top 5 right now. There's no stopping that guy, and why not? I mean, this is the lifestyle that he's built around, tapping into that youthful energy like you mentioned.
Yeah.
We're all surf turkeys. We can't wait to see this thing get underway.
So true. Well, we've got the first heat in the water, and I know that Quiksilver and Ross Williams pulling in just from last night out of Hawaii, dealing with the jet lag. You boys have been watching the surf all morning long. You excited?
Good morning, Pete. Thanks, guys, for keeping us busy on the desk there. I'm Quiksilver alongside Ross Williams. Ross, thumping conditions out here. Relatively easily called for the commissioner to give the green light, just allowing that tide turn this morning.
Well, it is the first day of the waiting period, so they took just an extra half-hour gigs to kind of, scan the beach break. We have a lot of shoreline here to take a look at, so they want to make sure they're in the right zone, so they took that extra 30 minutes just to have a close look. But now that the boys are in the water, you can see Joel Parkinson, I feel like Giggs is the perfect first huntsman to go out there and find that opening barrel.
Absolutely. Teeing up that first heat of the morning here, Ross. Joel Parkinson taking on Nat Young and Matt Banting. It's going to be a great exchange. Make sure you shuffle your schedule from wherever you are around the globe. We are going to get competition underway in just a few minutes. The commissioner giving a 9:15 start here this morning. Local time, well, just a few minutes shy of that now. As we look at the conditions here at the thumping beach breaks of Hossegor in France. And it is an easy call to get this thing moving this morning.